Now, this was a very powerful vision, and I am not usually given to visions, but it was very interesting what has come up for me. And this was a painting that was based on my vision, painted by a good friend, Jim Kelly. And this little bit is out of my journal. I saw Abdu'l-Baha and Baha'u'llah gathering up all the corpses with infinite love and gentleness. Then in the vision, Christ in a white robe joined them, and a little later I saw Moses. The four of them gathered all the adult corpses and all the little children. As each of the corpses was held very gently, I saw emerging from each body small white birds that ascended towards the sky. It seemed that the souls took the form of small white birds and they were released from their bodies. They were freed at last from all their suffering. The tortured bodies were left behind, but the small birds were perfect, unharmed. I finally understood that God had never deserted humanity. It was us humans who turned away from God in the murder and in the indifference towards the murder of God's children. He had sent messengers to illuminate and guide us. We were slow to hear, to listen, to follow their teachings. And millions had fallen prey to the power of hatred. People continue to be burdened with the crushing weight of various ills, pain and suffering. But the divine teachings have the power to unify the world and to gather all the peoples together. This was from my journal at that time. And I continued to kneel in a daze, waiting for the pictures to end. But there were more pictures and more messages for me to see and hear. There are many people who survived the horror and torture, but they are still suffering and are full of pain. Help them heal. You know what they feel. But where are they, and how should I help them? I asked. Pictures of groups of people kept appearing, and the exhortations were repeated again clearly, unmistakably. Teach them, help them heal. They are suffering. They are so full of pain. Ease their suffering. You know now how to do it. Yes. And then in Baji, at the shrine of Baha'u'llah, I learned the power of the divine healing. What is so interesting here that up until that time, I was intellectually a very strong Baha'i, but my heart was really closed to being able to feel it. And as I was kneeling with my forehead on the carpet among the rose petals, I felt a gentle healing wash over me. I was being gently held, including all the traumatized, sad, despairing parts of me. Something opened up inside, and I began to sob tears of healing, not of pain. I felt the love for the divine that was stronger than any other love. I finally understood and experienced his words. I am the guiding light that illumineth the way. Love me that I may love thee. If thou lovest me not, my love can in no wise reach thee, said by Baha'u'llah. Now I understood the purpose of my own journey. For me, this period became a special time for a rendezvous of the soul with the source of its light and guidance. My work did not end here, because there was quite a time that I have gone for therapy. It happened to be shiatsu therapy that worked with the body and the mind. And I have also learned to deepen myself in the wisdom of Judaism. In fact, we had a group of wonderful people in Shawnigan Lake who were all Baha'is but came from Jewish origin. And we had a Jewish institute. We met every 2 weeks or so to deepen ourselves in the wisdom that Judaism could offer. And then after that, I decided to take up Abdul Baha's challenge and assist people who have been traumatized. Initially, I joined Medicine Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders, and then the Center for Victims of Torture. And I went to many different countries. Kosovo was the first one, then northern Pakistan. I mean, I had about 15 different places, different missions with MSF in Sierra Leone. And each places I have trained people to work with the mental health of the local population. Many of these places suffered from war, and other places suffered from natural disasters. In South India, at the tsunami, I was there just a couple of days after the tsunami has happened. This was our team. The first day when the children came back to school in South India, we were there. And these are mental health trauma teams that are being trained in counseling all over. These are the newly trained teams in northern Pakistan, in South Africa, in Chechnya. That was the whole medical team in Chechnya that were trained in how to assist with mental health issues. In Malaysia, where we worked with the refugees from Myanmar. And then I went to Myanmar after the cyclone, and the team in Kyrgyzstan, where the Muslims and the Kyrgyz people were fighting with each other. And then the team in Jordan. This is a picture from South Africa where the immigrants and refugees were herded into camps. And it's a very poignant sign, world, can you help us? And that's still the sign that is evident everywhere. You may not see it physically, but the world really needs our assistance. And now it's the Immigrant and the Refugee Wellness Center in Victoria, where the refugees are coming to us with enormous mental health needs, and they need our help. I went over 15 minutes so far. But this is basically it. And the transformative work doesn't stop. You cannot put it in a particular timeline like I try to do it. There is still work to be done, and it's almost a lifelong effort to transform our trauma and to be able to be healers rather than victims or survivors. So this was a lot of material shared with you, a lot of my own very personal life. I wonder if you...
I just wanted to thank you for your honesty and being so candid with us, because you're helping us in our healing, and we all, I'm sure, I can only speak for myself, but I feel it in the room that we all want to help heal the world. And walking in your footsteps, watching how you've gone through that journey, it helps us. Thank you for being so courageous to share your journey with us. Yeah. Thank you.
I too am so grateful for that beautiful message of yours. And I found myself wondering that I'm so thankful that the Baha'is are open to people of all faiths and such a range of understandings. And are the Baha'is in Israel and elsewhere working to help heal the differences between Israel and Palestine, the Israelis and the Palestinians?
Well, there are probably people here who can better answer it, who actually spent a lot of time in Israel. The thing I know is that they do it by example. For example, in the Baha'i shrines, you have many people working together. And these people are Israelis, they are Arab Israelis, they come from all parts of the world. They come from Africa, they come from Europe, and unity in the Baha'i faith is so extremely important. So just by being able to provide a model of different people from different backgrounds, different races, different religions, can work peacefully together, I think that is a very strong message.
Thank you.
How do you manage to listen to someone's story and still stay strong without feeling emotionally heavy by listening to someone's story? Because it's a gift to be offered to listen, just like it is a gift to share the story. So how do we listen and be strong for them so that they don't feel an extra burden by our weakness?
Well, you're absolutely right. People are very sensitive to how we listen. And sometimes if there is the slightest fearful expression on your face, they stop talking because they don't want to traumatize you. And that's the same if you're the therapist. They don't want to traumatize the therapist either. Now, it's not always easy to listen. Many times some of the pictures of what they're telling me stays in my mind. And sometimes after a particular client walks out, I cannot even move. I feel so heavy. And that's when I use some of the methods that I teach my clients to use. So for example, shake out all the negative energy. I pray quite a bit. Actually, when I am overseas working with very traumatized clients, I pray a great deal more than when I am at home. Because sometimes the trauma is so intense that I do not know what would be the best way. And so these are the times I give it over to the divine powers. But what that does is makes me a lot stronger to be able to accompany that person. And one of the things I learned, I don't have to have the solutions. People will resolve their own trauma if I can just stay with them, hold their hopes, encourage them. They know what to do. So that also empowers them, because anytime I try to give solutions, it's not the right one. I don't know what is the best for you or for you, but people know themselves. I just need to be present, and I mean truly present. And that's where really the healing comes in.
One more question. Okay. So would you describe your transformation as a spiritual transformation? Or because you mentioned in the beginning transformation and didn't get to the spiritual part until the end. I'm wondering if that was what you...
Oh, the spiritual part was a very strong component of this. First of all, even just the yearning for religion, for a young person who was never brought up with religion, then finding the faith that has really guided me on my route, and then finding the answers to my questions in a very spiritual place, like the Baha'i shrines. So the spiritual was a very strong component, but it was also a physical transformation and an emotional transformation. Being able to re-own the parts of me that I have just left scattered around was a very important step, because then I was able to use that communist child, that fearful, lonely child, the Jewish child, became all part of me, and it helped me to become a lot stronger. So that would be the explanation.
Thank you. Thank you.